escuchas.
I have 15,000 followers.
Damn, Keefy K.
You wanted to be a big name activist, right? Congratulations, you did that.
My bro is headlining a protest.
No, man. I'm trying to hit the club.
So, going into season 2 from one, like Keith has had this experience now. What is Keith's life like now after season 1?
It's his life is in a bit of a. He thinks it's going one way. You know, he wanted this. He wanted this for himself. He wanted the spotlight. He wanted people to hear his story. He wanted to affect other people with his story, and share this message that he has. You know, but the problem is that he thought it was going to be one thing and it was something else. Because with, like Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Mm-hmm. Now everyone's asking him to talk about their issues. You know what I mean? Which he has no idea to address. Mm-hmm. You know, we got to understand this is a guy who, before all this, just wanted to draw comics. So he politically, the landscape, he had no idea what was going on. He didn't know what was going on in his neighborhood. He didn't know about homeless issues. You know what I mean? He didn't know anything about that until this thing happened to him, and so he started speaking out about against police brutality. And he thought that would be it. And then, no, the limelight happens, the microphone happens, the followers come, and the money comes. And so now he finds his world in a bit upside down. He has no idea how to navigate it. So he's got his homies that he always, confides in them, and he's got his crazy cartoon characters that he talks to. And so he's trying to figure it out. And you don't always have all the answers. And I think it mirrors life, how we think we're supposed to have it all figured out. Because the moment you have it figured out is when you stop growing. And I think as human beings, we're always in a state of transition. We're always in a state of moving and figuring life out. So that's where we find our character.
Hi guys, I want to introduce ourselves. I'm Luis Crespo and Lina Cristal from Tia Entre Estrellas. And we want to know, how do you feel about having the responsibility of putting yourself in kids' shoes?
It's interesting. I tell this to people all the time. I am not politically savvy. I am a lot of my friends are. And even when I got this job, I would sit down with a lot of my friends. I have friends who are politicians. I have friends who are activists. And they give the warning to me the same way they give the warning to Keith. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you got the microscope on you. Be careful. Mm-hmm. Be real careful what you say. And so for me, it was just about educating myself on the things that I personally relate to. The things that connect directly to me, and not step outside of things that I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because there are people for that. And if I have to, I'll talk to the experts. You know what I mean? I'll be like, one of my friends is a civil rights activist. So whenever I have a lot of questions about certain things, or someone will ask me to post something for him, I'll go to my friend Qasim. I go, hey, what do you think about this? And he'll go, hold on, be careful, because this is fake. And he goes, let me show you how. And then he'll start breaking down stats and doing all that stuff. And he's like, so be careful if you post that, because the fact finders will find you. And then, so I'm like, oh, I was just about to post this quote. Okay, don't do that. You know what I mean? So it's fun to have that responsibility, but I take care of it, but I don't wear that activist hat like Keith does.
I want to go a little bit lighthearted with this question. What is one of the funniest moments that has happened to each of you while filming?
I think still for me, the funniest moment has to be when we were filming the scene and he had that robe on. And he was just with the energy powder. So it's just like there's a lot of that scene that you all didn't see. One of the things being how short that damn robe was that Blake had on.
That's true. And his choice to not put underwear on that day. He said, my character wouldn't wear underwear.
You gotta be truthful. You gotta be truthful.
Dude, oh man, he was tipping on fofos. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Yeah, that to me, man. I don't know how we made it through that scene. There was so many times we had to cut because I just kept laughing.
My favorite is not. There's a lot of funny moments. Obviously, there's some. The guy Nathan who plays Dark Noir.
Oh yeah.
Anytime he speaks, I'm in tears. And there are moments with Sashir when she'll just say something so left out of the blue, like talking. I mean, I don't even know if I can say what she said. I don't know if I can say what she said. But those moments, and obviously working with these two guys are funny. It's very, very like a lot of fun moments. But in particular, it's the stuff that makes me laugh the most is when T. Murph can't remember his lines.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that.
Like, nigga.
It's the best.
What about the coverage?
Yeah, you
The
gotta
coverage, season 1.
He doesn't. So he didn't. Season 1, he didn't understand what coverage. So the camera is the camera's on you and it's on us. So when it's on you, that means we're behind the camera. We're off camera, right? There's one moment he's so into his monologue, but the camera's just on me for reactions, and he's so into it. He's moving around. He's doing this. Before you know it, he slowly inches his way in front of the camera.
Not in frame. He is the frame. His head is in the camera.
And I'm looking at him like this, and I'm just going,
Hey man, it's my coverage.
hey, brother.
Murph treats every scene like it's a live theater show.
Oh my god!
Every
man.
take he gives 1,000.
Dude, that shit was hilarious. I was like, what? No, what? Nobody said shit. I'm like, the more goes, look at the camera. It's on you. Look at it. It's when it's facing you.
Because this is your first thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you go through all these acting classes, right? You do all of this theater training. At no point do they tell you, hey, so there's multicam and there's single cam, right? They just tell you that, oh, this is how you act, this is how you portray the character. They don't tell you that these cameras are going to focus on each person individually. Nobody ever.
He's blaming the educational system.
Yeah, what? Yeah, no child left behind, motherfucker. Look, they've never think about that. In all the classes, they've never once broken it
I will
down.
say this: that is an experience thing because my first time ever working on a television show was a lot of stuff that I didn't do right. Basic stuff, understanding my mark, the color of my mark is going to be mine for the rest of the run of the show. So
And not looking for your mark.
right, and you got to just work it out. Okay, I see my mark over there, and you become so in tune with the space that you're filming in that you never have to look at it.
Yeah.
And so but that did take a while. To be fair, I'd never stood in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's you don't need a class for that.
That's the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
He's like, the mics can hear me though.
Can we get the footage of all the time?
Oh my God.
The blooper reel from Woke.
Just his back entering frame all the time.
Just moving in.
We have time for one more question.
Where does Lamorne get all his cocaine?
A guy named Rex. He lives here.
They're always named Rex.
It's okay. We laugh.
It's the last question is karaoke.
So my last question is, what would you like people to take away from this project?
That it's good enough for a season 3.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6. And no.
But yes.
I want people to understand that the name can throw people off sometimes. You know, there's a lot of political ideas out there and different theories and different walks of life that people live. And some people are turned off by the word woke because it took on some other meaning. You know what I mean? But when you watch the show, I want people to understand that this show is just a mirror. You know what I mean? To who we are as society, to who we are as people, and it's fun. At the end of the day, it's just funny as hell. And at its root, it's about friends trying to navigate where life is. Some of them are crazy. Some of them got abs now. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, you're Keith Knight. I'm an ally. I still post black squares to Instagram every week.
Actually, you can stop doing that.
Keith is not just an artist, he is an activist.
The correct term is artivist.
Okay.
Keep taking your story and translating it to a series with you writing it. What made you want to tell this on that scale?
What made me want to tell?
On the, because again, you can tell the story just normally, but now taking the tale of what you've been through and turning it into a comedic series, if you.
Yeah. I as a cartoonist, I've always wanted to take over the world as a cartoonist, but I found over my 25 or 30 year career that no one under 40 or 50 reads the newspaper. So, so television is, it's a great way to get your work out there, and so the opportunity I knew is such a rare opportunity for this to happen. So when I seized the opportunity when it came in front of me, and I was just so lucky to be connected to Marshall, and then Mo, the director, and Anthony, and just everybody. You work as a cartoonist. You work by yourself,
right?
And you sit down and you hope when you throw it out there, someone retweets it or something. So it's such an amazing thing to come to a set, work in a writer's room where you have dozens, hundreds of people who are taking these ideas and making them far more elaborate, far more funny, far more meaningful than you could do with just a pen and a piece of paper. So I just loved the process. It wasn't all roses and butterflies, it was like, but ultimately, when I was, and whenever any of us are stressed, I'd sit there and go, I'd think to myself, we're not curing cancer, we're just making television, it's like, we shouldn't be this stressed. We are privileged to be doing this. Yeah. And so I thank my lucky stars every day, and I just am so excited that we were able to screen it with an audience, because then we could hear people laugh, wow, that one really worked.
The season 1 premiere was after the shutdown happened, so it was all virtual.
So we never got to celebrate any of it. So this is
a new
wonderful.
And a good film.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful film.
You guys took so many social political issues. Do we still continue that trend going into season 2?
Yeah, well, season 2 takes place a year after season 1, and so the protests, the George Floyd protests, have happened, and it's energized. And this is really what happens when, the world becomes woke, but then companies are like, oh, this is a brand,
it's profitable,
oh, we can make money on this, and so that's sort of the poison, that sort of stains the movement. And so I think that was what we wanted to explore.
Hi, just wanted to introduce ourselves, Liliana and Luis from TJ Entre Estrellas, and our first question for you guys is, so the show has some cartoonish elements, and we wanted to ask, how do you manage to keep the balance in the show with these elements?
Well, the most important thing for me was I didn't want it to be like a guy and his mad talking marker. I didn't want it to be a buddy,
a buddy comedy.
Yeah. The animation was wonderful because when it manifests, it says things that would sound absurd coming out of or preachy coming out of human mouths. But when it's an animated character, it's kind of funny, and but that. It's a really cool thing to have, but I didn't want that to be, and I think we collectively didn't want that to be the basis of the show, and so we wanted it to be about humanity, about humans, and not about the animation. So, it shows itself in season 2, but. Like I said to the audience, he's gotten therapy between season 1 and season 2, so it's much less. Those are the voices in his head, and because he's now speaking out a lot more, it's less the animation, and it's more him.
And what challenges have you faced while working on this production?
COVID.
It's a huge one. I think a big that I think is a cool thing that the show did is the first season shot in Vancouver, and then we moved production to Atlanta for season 2, and a lot of that was because we wanted the crew to reflect the the creators, the writers, and there was more. We weren't able to get a diverse crew really in Vancouver, and so we moved because there's more diversity in behind the camera in Atlanta, and we had a really diverse crew. We had a writer's room that was all diverse, and like that to me was like just a huge big step forward for the show and for what the show wants.
And it took a lot of getting used to, because we shot season 1 in the winter, January, February in Vancouver, and then we shot in the summer in Atlanta. And
so you went from one extreme.
Exactly. And you know, it's supposed to be San Francisco, so no one can sweat. Everyone had to wear like, you know, stuff that like reflected the Bay Area and not.
That's what I would ask. How do you get the look of San Francisco? Like
great location managers and production designers.
Yeah. And a lot of found footage.
B-roll.
Footage. B-roll. That's it.
You said that the cartoon element would die down some, so we won't hear as many voices. But I will ask, what special guests can we see and expect in this season? Because as the first season, you brought in some amazing people bringing the voices of some of the inanimate objects.
Mm-hmm.
Will we see more live action people now that you stated that the cartoon element dies down?
Oh, yeah.
We meet Clovis's dad this season, and Isaiah Washington plays him, and he's incredible.
Whitlock.
Whitlock, sorry, that's what I meant. Isaiah Whitlock plays him, and he's so incredible, and he's an old, you know, in the first season it's established that Clovis is not into this whole woke thing and is kind of against it, and we find out it's because Clovis's dad is an old school activist who abandoned his family basically to go fight for the cause, and so he and Clovis have a very fun, rough relationship. So we get to play with him this season, which was really exciting.
Yeah, and then Amy Garcia plays a character in the show, and Amy plays a venture capitalist, someone with a lot of money who sort of sidles up and wants to do a project with Keith. And so Amy was wonderful coming onto set. I mean, she was just so excited, and she just loved the idea of this character being this extremely wealthy Latina. And so her enthusiasm on set was amazing. And who else? Miguel Pinzon. He plays a caricature artist. We just saw it in season in episode 1, but he's throughout the season. And what I love about it is the first cartoonist I ever met in San Francisco, Jaime Crespo, I got him to do the artwork for Miguel's character. So it was nice. It's nice to reach back and just like to, you know, San Francisco folks and give them gigs, you know.
What would you like people to take away from this project?
For me, it's just it's the best of my comics and the best of the show is like I want people to laugh and I want people to think. You know, we're not solving cancer, you know, and we're certainly not answering questions. We're not telling people how to think. We're just asking questions. We're posing questions. That's the best of it. Starting conversations. So to me, I've always said this, even when we were shooting season 1, like, you know, dramedies always seem to emphasize the drama, like, too much, especially in subsequent seasons. And I was like, I don't want that. I want it to still be funny. And so, I mean, that's the great thing with having Anthony on board, which is like, he prioritized it being funny, but I get, like, you want enough drama so you care about the characters. I think that's a huge thing, and I think we managed to do both. And it really is this fine line between drama and comedy, and sort of straddling it and making it work. But I think we do a good job with it.
I definitely agree. You guys have done a great job. Season 1, what everyone saw, you know, many people had expectations, and all those expectations were superseded after watching it.
Yeah.
You know, I know for a fact I was one of those people. What made you finally say, let's do this? Let's put Keith in therapy for that. This is probably the final question. Let's put Keith in therapy and show how that affects everything.
Well, I mean, we never really show him in therapy. It's really sort of commented on, but it was important that to almost make it like it's just a part of his regular life. Like this is something that that should be a part of most people's lives, and I urge whenever I speak to young people and people of color, I just say, if you're wondering what you should get into mental health, because I think that's a huge thing. Any sort of reparations that I push for black folks to control all the cannabis in the United States. Like if white people are going to have to do any business, they have to go to black people. And then 2 is free mental health for black people all the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Entre estrellas.